Chair.
Welcome to the regular Village of Alexandria Bay Board Meeting, August 8th, 2023. Roll call, please.
Trustee Caputo.
Here.
Trustee Campany.
Here.
Trustee Dima.
Here.
Trustee Fulmer.
Here.
Mayor Jarvis.
Here. Public concerns.
Oh, right off the bat. Well, thank you. First off, representing myself and my partner in crime on this adventure, the first annual Christmas in July parade seemed to go very well. We saw a lot of things that maybe we can change if we get to do a second one. We wanted to thank the village for its help. The stage, although we moved it at the last moment, but we found out exactly where it needed to be. That worked fantastic. The guys were very helpful, running down there, moving it, like literally half an hour before the event. Village police stepped in. They made some phone calls. We ended up getting state police there, sheriffs there. Last minute things that we didn't see we needed to do, but we've learned from. Wanted to thank you for all your help as a village. I think we did a commendable job pulling off the first one. We'd like to do it again. You know, we want your support if we do. We've got to talk to the chamber next week and see how that works. If this is a community event or if it could somehow become a chamber event. A lot of requests that night, the next day, the following week, you have to do it again. This was great. We want to see it again, want it bigger. So we've got some really grandiose ideas how it could be really pretty spectacular, turn into a very family-oriented weekend. Something that, you know, was our thought in the first place. What are your thoughts about how it went off?
I did not hear one negative comment about it. Everything was positive and upbeat, and was surprised at how successful it was for the first one, like you said. First one always has,
Me too.
yeah, it was well received, so kudos to you folks.
Before that, afraid it would fail.
Yeah. So kudos to you folks.
What I received was, you've got to be kidding. This has been the biggest, best parade this village has seen in years. Very well put together, thank you. What was it, 37?
Yeah, we were just shy of 40.
For your first event, 37 floats.
We've already got
amazing.
marching bands and everything else lined up for next year.
Oh, cool.
But
I
people-
thought it was great.
That's good to hear. Now, literally, people are saying, we're in for next year, what's your date? So we have picked a date, July 27th, which is the same day as Betterment, which is good because it just creates a whole weekend of buzz and a lot of activity. I talked to Vicki Stay about what I might be able to do, or we could do together to help the Legion have a better event or more things tied to this together, which would be just great. It's just good, better, and best. Keep going. So that's the plan. So we wanted to know what your thoughts were on event number one. Wondered if the village would be willing to give us a liaison person, because what we'd like to do, meet in September, and I think if we've got this right, we'd like to meet in September with somebody from the chamber, state police, village police, A-Bay Fire, a board member, a rep from the volunteers, because without the volunteers, it really doesn't work, and that's where Patty jumped in and saved me, and then Patty and myself, and probably Lisa Slate as well, based on River Santa stuff. And if we could get a liaison, then we think that over the winter, just ideas could get bounced back and forth, and we can make sure we're all on the same page, because we saw things that needed to be changed, maybe even the route a little bit, so that traffic doesn't get hung up out there, and, you know, I think it's gonna get bigger. That's a given. It's gonna be bigger. And this could be something within a couple of years. We could get corporate donations, we could add fireworks to it. I've got something else up my sleeve. You never know.
Okay, I make a motion that we approve the dates again,
27.
July 27th, 2024. not to wish our lives away, but
What he said.
might as well reserve the date I already
Second.
have with the chamber. And see who you might want to appoint as a liaison to us, so that we could schedule a meeting and have a good conversation about pluses, minuses. Am I reading that you want to have it again?
We need to vote.
Motion by trustee Demo, second by trustee Campany to approve the Christmas in July 27th, 2024. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. Who would like to represent the board for the Christmas in July? Take it.
It won't be time consuming. We email here and there, phone call here and there, thoughts back and forth, because we're gonna get further if we get input
Right.
from others. And it's already come in great ways. All good positive stuff on how we can do it better, merchants decorating, having Christmas sales, you know, and I have a way of getting out there a little bit, or I am out there, whichever you wanna say. This isn't streaming, is it? So, my point is, with Johnny Spezzano, who did a phenomenal job calling the event, he's totally on board with his radio station to support the River Santa at Christmas and this event. Thinks it's fantastic. So we're gonna get airtime, and with airtime and being able to maybe do, flyers or banners or a little bit more than we, you know, I was seating my pants right till last week. So I think with some forethought, we can really create a good event, and a lot of buzz. And if there was that many people this year, on year one, give us some lead time, see what we can do for second year. And I think the merchants should like it, because I know they're busy, but be busy with kind of a buzz and a theme.
I love it.
Me too.
People have been very positive.
I know we can't whip candy at people. Well, I didn't.
Oh,
I had some
yeah.
thrown at me, but
I just have to
little.
bring it up there. Some individual did call and complain that we didn't pick up the candy by the next morning, and he went down a couple of the people, there was what, 20 pieces that we missed?
I ran into town and found one candy cane.
I don't know that I'd worry about it. Sounds to me
Well,
like
I've
that
actually-
I'd say if
person
there's
needs
one
something
person
to
I
do.
probably went with, if there was 10 or 15, I'd worry about it, but, oh my goodness.
No,
Really?
and that even gave us ideas, give the kids buckets and some decorum for the throwers, that they don't whip candy, they maybe toss or hand.
Underhanded.
Yeah, underhanded, thanks, there were some baseball throws.
I mean, at the Christmas parade in Clayton, we're told not to throw. You have to hand it, or gently throw it on the ground in front of the children.
Yeah.
That's great.
So,
And we can do and we're gonna create a list of,
Right.
call it etiquette
right.
for our people, because there was a couple things.
You got the names of all those kids that were throwing candy for a
None
baseball?
were Wagner.
I
I
got two
promise
of
you,
them.
not one was on that Wagner float.
I got two of them. I got their
got a
names for
complaint, and I
baseball.
went down
Come
town and
on.
couldn't find any candy, and my complaint was, where's my candy?
Yeah.
You know, I would've liked a Tootsie Roll, I don't know. So, thank you.
I just was at Jared, you know, your crew was amazing. And
Boy,
thank you,
they-
especially the last minute stuff. And so, we're very interested in what you and your gang has to say. You know, what,
It all went well. It
Yeah.
was, like I said,
but any suggestions they have for things to do and, you know, and that sort of stuff.
We'll do better with crowd control, keeping them out of the street, so that cars can turn, and we never thought about people leaving Uncle Sam's and coming the wrong way into the parade route. Never thought about it,
Yeah.
but.
Well, I think next year, those are some of the things that have to be on the list, traffic, direction, because I know the police department was happy with the route that was changed this year.
Mhm.
So, I don't know that they'll change that for next year, but maybe thinking ahead, now you know.
I will say our only thought was through the arena and down, Margaret, so that when you're entering Church Street, you're a couple hundred yards further
Off
from
the hill.
the hill,
Okay.
and that lets people go down Bolton and hang out if they come into town. and they can't go down Otter Street, they can at least go down Otter and Bolton and kinda hang tight or loop around.
Yeah.
That was the only thought, a minor adjustment, but yeah, I thought it went pretty well.
Thank you.
A little too fast, we'll slow them down next time.
So it's 45 minutes.
The complaint was not enough time between each thing, so the,
That's a long parade.
There, but, and I was too busy. But the idea is people wanted to see a certain act and then have the next following, a float act, whatever you call it. All right. Sounds like we're on.
Good.
Thank you.
Let's do it again.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for
You're
having
welcome.
us.
Thank you.
Thank you for your help.
Any other public concerns? Correspondence? Minutes. Motion to approve the minutes from regular meeting on, July 11th, special meeting on July 25th, 2023.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion by trustee Campany, second by trustee Fulmer. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to pay the bills, abstract number 2.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by trustee Fulmer, second by trustee Demo. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Trustee reports. Trustee Caputo.
Did you ever get that barricade that you were gonna take down to the dive park? We had talked about
Yes,
that
sir.
at the special meeting,
Yes, we
and I
did.
had gone down last week and it wasn't there. Did you
The
get it?
concrete angels are
Yep.
down there,
Yep,
and they're nailed into the blacktop now.
okay,
They can not no longer come up on top of
okay.
the sidewalk.
All right,
so.
perfect. I hadn't been down there to see
Yeah.
it since then, but I knew last week it
Have
wasn't.
to
So
set them in place.
so that's good, that's done.
Yeah.
I went down to that DIR when the governor announced round 7 that Judy's been working so hard on, and all I can say is the more community interaction, the two things that they really stressed was comprehensive plans and community involvement. Community involvement, the more we can talk about it and get people involved, it's not a fast process. And they talked about, if we were by chance to win, the
Takes a
state,
while.
yeah, the state gives us a team that will work with us. And, I mean, it was very positive, and I'm very glad I took the time to go down there. But it would be awesome for the community if we could get this. And they really talked about a lot of sharing with other communities. I know I met with the mayor down in Clayton, and they've got things they'd like to do, and they talked a lot about intermunicipality things, that, especially for the smaller communities. Work together with your neighbor, and you might have a better chance that way also. But very exciting stuff. I hope, they said a lot of times you don't get selected the first time, but don't give up. Sometimes it takes the second or third year, and you'll learn through the process, and keep trying and you'll get it.
Somebody put it, if you're looking for the cake and ice cream, you probably won't gonna get it, but if you're looking for the meat and potatoes, more than likely you're going to get it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're looking for, hopefully.
So,
Let's see where I'm gonna go. The docks, our attendants are all doing well. We're shortly gonna lose a couple of them over the next 2 weeks to go get ready for college, but we have enough to make it work. Lifeguards, they're all doing well, except for the days we have rain and have to cancel. We had a health inspection, which, some little things, move this, put this there, and they complimented us on our brand new lifeguard who, our health inspector said was very attentive and doing a very good job, which I did pass on to her. Other than that, going to the New York Forward DRI, with the applications we have and a few more that I'm expecting by the end of this week, which I'll share with everybody when we get them again, but we're probably close to 18 million if the arena gets included. So we might have to apply twice. So I'm excited, it's really moving along, and, other than that, we're good, we're getting there.
I keep circling around, the park and pavilion seems to be well used. A lot of people have been down there enjoying the new facility or the improved facilities. Saw some kids down, even in the rain, down at the other playground today playing, so that made me happy. People that were involved with the betterment last year and this year, especially with the kayaks, said it was so much nicer this year. The park and pavilion looked really good. And that, again, that goes back to Jared and his crew. Thank you, appreciate it. And, I guess that's it.
Can you guess what is the most used piece of equipment at the Scenic View Playground?
I cannot.
Come on. The teeter-totter that was installed, what, 2 weeks ago?
Oh, yeah.
It's like these kids were waiting for
Yeah,
it.
good.
They line up to use the teeter-totter.
Awesome.
It's crazy.
Hearts for Youth is gonna end their programs in the next 2 weeks, so we'll be taking, employees will be taking a break, and, they're getting ready to start up in the fall again. The golf course, Betterment got rained out, and I don't know how they still played, so Trevor has asked if he could have a discount on the, how do I wanna say this? The bill's $1,131, and when I figured this out, if we gave them, if we only charged them 3/4 of it, oh, where did my number go? About $850, because they did not play, and the guys and girls in the first round got soaked, and then they had to call it, so, and the tennis players had to call it too. There was no second half in the afternoon for the tennis players to play, so I don't know how you feel about that. Just charging them 3/4 of the bill instead of the full bill.
So typically, they're gonna have X amount of players, and then we go by what they're at,
They had 87 players, $13 apiece.
and it didn't happen.
The first flight went,
Yep,
they played through the first one.
and they were soaked when they came back.
And he
It
was
raining,
asking
'cause
even
I
if
was
we
there
did the
through
second.
whole thing.
Portion of it, when he called this afternoon.
So what's he asking for?
Do they get a deal with the $13, or is that standard?
That's standard.
That's what, okay.
What's he asking for a refund of, or just leaving it up to?
He's leaving that up to us.
So you'd be happy with anything?
Huh?
You would be happy with any refund?
Probably, and that's what I figured out, that 3/4 of the bill would be about $850 to charge them.
So the difference,
But the money that they raise comes back into the community.
right,
Every red cent,
so it's like $200 and some odd refund.
yeah.
No, well, it's almost like 400 and something. Right, 850 from 13.
$284. They wouldn't be charged.
I mean, giving Betterment a refund, is that going to hurt the outcome of the golf course?
No, because they didn't use they had to bring everything back in.
There was no wear and tear, or,
No,
I'll make a
that's why they
motion.
got off, yeah.
I'll make a motion to give Betterment the refund of,
1/4?
Well, no, you have to charge them, they haven't paid their bill yet,
oh, okay,
so
so,
it
We're
would
gonna charge
be,
them 75%.
charge them $850.
I'll make a motion to charge Betterment $850.
I'll second it.
You second? So with the Betterment for their activities, rather than the full amount we bill them, $850 for, discount. Motion by trustee Fulmer, second by trustee Caputa. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And I'll just add to that, the amount of money, because I sit on that board now, and the amount of money they give back to this town, and, I mean, the whole town, I'm talking town of Alexandria. And because the events are here, that's where the money stays. And it's all fed to a national board, and then the money comes back, and everything that is given away has to be approved. Hartsview's got $600 to buy the library new little picnic tables for the kids. Some money went to the Reformed Church because we needed toys down there, but all that money was raised right here. Most of the people that attend Betterment are not people from here. They're summer residents, and they're people that come from all over the country to take part in this. So, it's a big deal.
Big.
Okay. Tennis and pickleball, my favorite subject. So, I have talked to a couple people, I have 2 people that are gonna give me some estimates, then we will have 3 estimates for the fence, as soon as these 2 others give me estimates. I would like to see, in my lifetime, a pickleball complex out there with a swimming pool. And I'm not kidding, because it's pickleball day today, and let me tell you, we will be missing the boat. And I'm not sure what's going on with the town, that hunk of land out there, but people really need to think about this pickleball thing, because it is big, it is huge. And, Alexandria Bay, everybody loves it here, they wanna come, that would boost the resorts would get more business, they could have tournaments, and Canton, Potsdam, Little Governor has a wonderful pickleball area. And I've gone and looked at all these, and I'm like, why can't we do that? So I need to see how they got their funding.
Does pickleball apply for New York Forward DRI?
We can always check, it might be,
Okay, write
might be
that
a
down.
community municipal
That's it,
project.
yeah. Swimming pool.
And a pool?
Actually, we need some more, courts out there, and like over at TI Country Club, they have a wonderful set of courts. TI Country Club gave the pickleball people the tennis courts, so they themselves, without any funding from anybody, volunteers put the courts in, lined them, painted them, and they're all divided into groups. Like you have a whole pickleball court here and another one here, and it's all fenced in. And they also have a pavilion out there that they put the cement in, they built. They did it on their own, so, and that's what I am looking for. I'm looking for some volunteers to step up and help.
So we discussed it last month, and we tabled pickleball, tennis.
Well, she's waiting on her estimate.
Yep. And that's like pulling teeth right now. That's the problem, everybody's busy, so.
Yeah, like I called the other day to the company that I mentioned last month about painting the lines in the village. I called and left a message, you were right there when I called, still haven't got them.
Did somebody paint lines on Church Street today? We didn't, because didn't Erica said she saw lines on Church Street?
Might have been the state.
It's the state.
That's okay.
Okay, so it wouldn't have been anything we did, because it wasn't the right weather to paint lines today.
No.
Okay.
You're right.
So
Calling,
the only other
trying to get
thing-
an estimate,
Yeah.
and they don't get back to you.
No. The only other thing is there was vandalism up on the tennis court. Someone cut the net, and it was cut because nylon does not wear like that. Weather will not wear nylon. Somebody went and cut at least 9 holes, and some of the holes were the whole square gone. So, and it's just too, when Jamie and I, Drinkwater and I looked at it, we were like, somebody cut it, and it is what it is. So, Betterment today will pay for the new tennis nets that we bought. They're gonna write a check and pay us back for having to buy a new net. Yep. $172, I think it was.
Yeah.
Something like that. Okay, Gordon Court, they have a meeting coming up. They don't really have any issues over there at all. What they're gonna do in their common room is take out the existing kitchen and, improve what they have over there, because the stove was dead, everything was falling apart, so they had money that they could take care of that. They were looking into getting new coin-operated washers and dryers, but they're happy with the service they have, and until it's broken, they're not gonna fix it. But that's what happened in there. The library's ending their book sale in 2 weeks. Right now, they've got raffles going on over there. They've got an electric bike up for raffles, if everybody wants to buy some tickets for that. They also started a candy sale, and they're doing very well with that. And they have an open house on August 30th, if anybody wants to go to that. And that's about that. I'm done.
Got a phone call today, because it just happened between today and yesterday. The 1991 100-foot ladder truck was on its way to Syracuse yesterday for scheduled maintenance, and they had to pull over along 81 because the engine stopped. So we, at this moment, don't know if we need a new engine in the truck or what it needs. It could be $1,500, it could be $15,000, it could be $30,000 to replace the engine. We'll find out in the next couple of days. We don't have anybody up here that can do that type of work on this vehicle, so.
So it's going, is that Gilco, you said?
It was towed to Gilco, but Gilco can't do the work, so it's going to the shop in Syracuse. I don't know exactly the name of the shop.
Okay, so we'll get an estimate.
So we're gonna get an estimate from that.
Okay.
2 weeks ago, we had fire call downtown on Market Street, report of a tree fell onto a person's vehicle, and that was a big tree that fell into the street. The people had left the vehicle. Thank goodness they were out of the vehicle, and that crushed the car. There's great big holes. The property owner had it trimmed, but where he had it trimmed, you'll have to be a tree professional to look up and go, that tree's rotten, there's holes in it. So, like a burnt out house or property that's endangered to the public, this tree could crack and fall again into the street, and the property owner needs to take it down. And the property is
Or you're gonna have
the
to-
Thompson Museum, Rick Thompson. Supposedly, he's sending the bill for the tree company to the car's insurance. It's like, your tree demolished the car and you're gonna send your bill to them? You just destroyed their vehicle. But general public wise, I have received a phone call, even though we need it in writing, but that we're being put on notice that this tree is a menace. And this was the father of the owner of the vehicle.
Is that something we have zoning?
Well, there's a lot of twists and turns in it. The tree is not in the public right of way though?
No.
So it's on private property, so it's owned by the property owner. So in New York State, from a very general, quick standpoint, the owner of the property, with the tree, they're not a guarantor. That they aren't automatically responsible if a portion of the tree collapses unless they know, or in the exercise of reasonable care should have known, that a portion of the tree was gonna collapse, okay? Now, what's already happened, I'm hearing, is that a part of it collapsed on a car. That'll be an issue with that property owner and the owner of the car, and they'll battle it out. But right now, the owner of the property with the tree, they know. They know, now they're on notice, they're responsible if something happens. If something happens, then as long as they have homeowners insurance, that carrier is going to be on the hook to reimburse, to defend and indemnify if something happens. So that'll deal with part of it. Now, from the village's standpoint, so it's not our tree, we don't own it. Presumably, what I think would be safe in any event to trigger something would be for the village to in writing, notify the homeowner that if it's observed that this is a dangerous tree that needs to be taken care of promptly. Now, if something happens that the owner of the property doesn't take care of it, you, regardless of some local law that you adopt or something, you know, as the village board, you have what's known as police powers to take care of, safeguard the public, the health, safety, and welfare of the public. If you're aware of a potential danger to the public because of the proximity to the village property and pedestrians and motor vehicles, then ironically, you do have the emergency police powers. You can go in and you can abate this emergency. And when you abate it, it's to remove the tree and then to surcharge the property owner. So there's lots of twists and turns with all this, but just from a general standpoint.
But you give the property owner notice first and give them the opportunity to do it.
Now, so if we have a horrible storm, part of the tree comes down, and we're looking, oh my gosh, the rest of it could come down any minute. In an emergency situation, we don't even have to give them notice. We can take care of it from an emergency standpoint, even though it's not our tree on our property. But right now, if we're looking at it, we're saying, well, it is still a danger, but it's not an extreme emergency. Yeah, you put the homeowner on notice, tell them they need to take care of this ASAP, and if they don't, then we would proceed. Okay, but that's even without looking at what you've adopted. So you inherently have what are known as police powers.
The tree should come down. It's old, it's rotting, I look at it, it's a hazard.
And the majority of it, if and when it does fall, it's gonna fall in the street.
Yeah.
And if it's right at the edge of the street, cars parked.
Yeah.
How much
The street, there's a lot of people that do walk that area. It just, wow, somebody gets hit and killed, it will really affect the village.
Yeah, but I want to make sure you're aware that the village doesn't have responsibility, heaven help us, if a tree comes down and somebody gets injured. I mean, we don't, okay? We are not a guarantor, it's not our tree, and it's not our property. Now, the question is, how much notice do you give?
Right.
So in the absence of having already adopted something that specifies it, and I didn't know this issue existed, so I've not researched it tonight, but in the absence of some statute, it's just, you know, just common sense. If generally speaking, unless it's an utter emergency, you're looking at activities to take place within a week or so, I'll say.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a couple more storms like this, the tree
Yep.
isn't gonna last long.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah. So it's considered to be, from what I'm hearing, an emergency, that it needs to come down, I'll say promptly, and what that generally is you're looking at like a week. But again, if you had a storm and part of it was coming down, then in an utter emergency, you take care of it yourself as best you could. But see, the problem becomes trying to get somebody to get in there quickly and take it down. It might not be easy, and the property owner might not have the financial resources to do that either. Taking a tree down in on the back lot of a farm is one thing, but taking a tree down in a village where you've got homes and stuff, power lines, it's a completely different ballgame. But I would say you probably would declare it to be an emergency and to authorize the mayor contact the property owner to notify the property owner that it needs to be dealt with promptly with the appropriate removal of the tree, cutting it, removing it, within whatever period of time you think is appropriate.
I'll make that motion. If we need a motion to give the mayor the power to contact the property owner to handle the tree
I'll
as an
second it.
emergency.
Do we write this letter, or do we have Attorney Burrows write this letter?
You shouldn't, if you want to, I can, but you shouldn't need that. The point really is what I'm hearing. The village board is now aware of this underlying scenario. Your minutes will reflect whatever the scenario is. The village board has apparently determined that the scenario is dangerous to the public and that property owner, and the village board has determined that this tree is not the village's tree, it's not on village property, so that the property owner has a responsibility to remove the tree promptly to avoid danger. And if they don't do that, then the village will proceed in an emergency basis to remove it and charge all costs to the property owner.
And I wouldn't send it regular mail, I would send it certified, or whatever
If
quickest delivery would be.
it were me, I'd have the letter, I'd have it mailed in certified, I'd also have it posted in the property. I'd have it hand delivered because we don't want to have any delays or something like that.
Motion by trustee Palmer, second by trustee Timo, for a certified letter to property owner for tree removal. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And if I could stop, so now, and as you know, with part of your power that you have, Jared, you know, you even trees that are not on village property, you have the authority, again, in that from an emergency standpoint, if you think there's a danger, to abate that emergency, even without having to come to the board first, because the board isn't gonna be able to meet necessarily every single day. So you do have some inherent power to deal with those issues.
I was gonna address the board in my, let them know that there was a softball, maybe football size limb that come out of it this, over the night, right in the sidewalk.
Same tree,
Yeah.
okay.
I've been around and around this whole thing quite a bit. There's some talk out there that they want to even charge the fire department for taking the tree out of there because they had claimed that the fire department had called the tree service in. I went down there. I know that they still needed a bucket truck, so it didn't matter at that time if the village had gone in to clean that tree up or not. But there was limbs that had been taken out higher up that had to be removed that night. And the only other thing, Mr. Burrows, that I have is that's a state highway, and I don't know if that determines how this is gonna be addressed. If it's still, if the village is right because it's in the village property, or if it's something different because it's a state highway.
Well, I still think from the village's standpoint, the village board, their power is within the limits of the village. So if there's an emergency, the village can take care of it. And then that's where you're gonna err on the side of protecting the public.
Right, we have the right to protect the parking and the road
And the
itself.
general public?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have, that was like the first thing, address the tree. The new truck was delivered, it's already lettered. We delivered 2 loads of wood chips down to the playground, get that back up to snuff. The teeter-totter came in, they covered it, it was all under warranty, and actually the teeter-totter that we got back is twice the machine that what we used to have. Obviously, there was an issue of the strength of it. The one that we put in was weighed over 800 pounds. So there's a lot of metal in it, a lot of metal. We're getting ready for Pirates Week. With shared services, we had hauled the sludge out of the Redwood Sewer Plant. We're now done with that, but we are now hauling for us out of our plant. We have Kester coming in next week to replace the back flow preventers, the check valves. They're the original ones to the plant. That was in '73. So we got to shut the plant down and reroute to be able to change these and the valves. The valves have never worked since I've been here. That can shut it down. So we're going to put a big 4-inch pump in and pump it around the plant. To get that done, that's next week. We pigged the intake today. our intake works as a gravity system. We have a vault that's at the water plant. The vault is quite deep. Gregor knows how those systems work. The water free flows into the vault from, quite a ways out in the river. And then we have the pumps in there that pump it to the plant. So through all the milfoil, all of the barnacles, we weren't getting that free flow into that pit. We were actually pumping faster than they filled back in. So we had Chris Hunt come in from Mohawk Divers. They came in, we sent the pig, it's looks like a bullet. We put it in, we shut some valves off, we take the water that's in the pit, reverse it, and shoot the pig out. He went out, took the stainless steel cap off, so anything that's in there, zebra mussels or so, gets pushed out. There was hardly anything in the pipe, but the screen on the end had maybe just slits in it. It was definitely compromised. So we got that done this afternoon. Thank God that there was no lightning, high winds. You know, it came out to plan very well.
Good.
And of course, we had fired up the pumps and it worked good. So that's all good and done. And as we say, you know, we have the streets, the sweeper is on its last leg. I'm waiting for the new one to come in. We're just trying to baby it, doing the bare minimal, sweeping on Fridays, Monday mornings, just trying to just make sure we have some sort of sweeper, not anything extra, just crossing our fingers, okay? So.
That's why I'm getting to sleep a little later.
No doubt.
When's the new one coming?
With, just like everything else, with, you know, back orders and,
Rapidly.
Yeah, okay.
we had a part that broke on it last year, and I was told that there was no, time limit on getting the universal joint, so I had taken the joint over to Harry Gill. He had actually welded the universal joint for me. I'm hoping September, where we could do a great cleanup on the streets, get the grass out of the curbs, and just really dig into it and have a good ending of the year with it. So that's my plan. So I think that's all I have.
Well, Jarrett and I talked today, and we have a full-time laborer position to fill. We advertised in-house as we are supposed to, and we have an employee who is interested in moving into the full-time laborer position. Am I allowed to say his name? Molly, am I allowed to say his name?
Yeah, you're hiring, yeah.
Okay, I didn't know for sure. Lance Escudero, he works for us now as a part-time person, and how will we do this? Right now he's working 12 to 8, 5 days a week, including the weekends. So before he moves into the full-time laborer position, we will have to find somebody to fill the part-time?
Because he can still fill that full-time position, he just will not have the same hours as us.
Okay,
Till
right.
Till we find.
Okay, as long as he understands that, because we do need him on the remaining weekends that we have through Labor Day.
Yes. I've had Lance, he worked for me, through a program through BOCES, which in turn just the work ethics of that kid, as I call him, is just phenomenal. Nothing that I've seen in children nowadays, which just led me to be like, I went to him and said, hey, would you like to work for him for the summer? He's not afraid to do anything. He does what he is asked to do. He took heavy equipment. He's in the loader all the time already. He's there, you know.
And he saves us with, you know, trash on weekends, between 12 to 8.
I'll go in on weekends sometimes at 11:30, he's already there. All the doors are closed still, but he's in the shop sweeping. And a half an hour before he has to start. I mean, he's just.
Mom and Dad did something right, because all
Yeah,
three boys
he's
are awesome.
unreal, you know,
they're
so.
phenomenal workers that,
Yeah, for all three kids.
yes.
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion that we hire Lance Escudero as our full-time, to fill our open full-time laborer position.
Second.
Motion by trustee Fulmer, second by trustee Campany, to hire Lance Escudero as the full-time laborer for DPW. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? He's, the weekends, he's out around the village. He is fabulous worker, yes.
Right now, we have an issue down to, Cavalier, we have a plug sewer, so I apologize for answering my phone. But they've been in since, I don't know, 3:30, trying to get the sewer that's between the two buildings unplugged. So, again, I apologize for being on the phone, but the guys are trying to, we're playing phone tag, so I apologize.
It's a village line?
Yeah. That's the one that runs between Cavalier and the old CP Romans building,
Okay.
so, that's all.
Mayor, if I may just quick going back, thinking of that tree, I'm just thinking that, I know the insurance carriers work, if that property owner has a homeowner's policy, now that a part of the tree, no homeowner's insurance. Okay, because I was gonna say, I think you'd have coverage right now, and the carrier would actually
Well,
take.
it's not a home, he doesn't have
Business.
property insurance?
Well, but if it's an improved property, then there's gonna be, if they've got insurance coverage, with a damaged tree, the carrier will, if it's identified, the carrier will have it removed and pay to have it removed, so that
I
property
was
owner.
told he does not have insurance on the property.
Well, it's not our problem.
No,
It needs
it's
to be
not.
dealt with.
Well, I'm
The
just
bottom
thinking
line
of a way to
is-
get it done quickly.
The bottom line is, he's gonna have to,
Yeah,
if it's not, if he doesn't pay for it, then, or to have it done, then it goes to the taxes. But it is, we've all driven by it, looked up and go, that doesn't look right. Okay. Zoning, please not here, police report. Police department had 11 complaints, 0 arrests, 2 vehicle and traffic tickets issued, 1 warning, 2 parking tickets issued, 1 warning, 7 building checks. New police car is at Bush Electronics, being outfitted with the lights and computer system. Respectfully, officer in charge, Joshua David. Old business, ready, streetscape projects.
All right, so the Ready projects, since the last meeting, all of the dock components were delivered and installed, which is a good thing. The gangway was installed on the upper James Street dock, and all of the floaters were installed on lower James Street dock.
And you put all the boat cleats on.
Yeah, and additional boat cleats have been added too, so they're approximately 10 feet apart now.
You know, you would think, okay, they're just boat cleats. I pulled up that morning and I'm looking, going, something's different, something, oh my God. Look at the boat cleats. It screams at you from 10 feet, 20 feet, big difference. And we were down there, you, Tim Barber,
A couple weeks ago.
Tony, myself, Judy, I think Sandy was there, and it was just, people were stopping going, oh my God, this is absolutely beautiful. It is. Beautiful.
So the remaining items, we started a punch list, which is essentially a list of items for the contractor to address before the contract is closed out. We'll be sending that to them this week so they can get those items finished up. They also have the railings on essentially the bridge to the lift, and we heard that they have been sent for galvanizing, and we have not received the schedule yet for installation on those. But it's my understanding that the lift itself is ready to go. Other items, lights, which we talked about a couple weeks ago, the remaining bollard lights for the floating docks, and also the lights for the Riverwalk are gonna be completed after Labor Day. And the contractor's fine with that. I know we talked about that at the meeting, making sure that they're okay with the schedule, and they're fine with doing that after Labor Day. We should get a more updated schedule probably in the next few weeks. We'll share that with the village on what that looks like. Other than that, pretty much the project is tailing off, wrapping up, so we have a few items to get finished before it's closed out. I was gonna mention to Jarrett, if he's aware of anything, for the punch list, or if anybody on the board is aware of anything, just let us know. We'll make sure we add that in, and, like I said, they'll be finishing that up this summer. So we're close to having everything done with that project.
One of the biggest things we're gonna really have to pay attention to is the chain links, how they attach to the floaters, so that if for some main reason we get an influx of river water and that level goes up, we need to know how to adjust the links to the floaters so that we don't have a major catastrophe and have them busted, or as water goes up and the chains tighten and something breaks. So that
Right.
these guys know how to adjust the links so that whether it's ready or with the streetscape with the boat ramp, so that we work so hard to get to this point that we don't ruin them.
Definitely, and I think Jared's probably done some adjustment on the existing finger docks. You've
Yeah.
had floaters for a while there. We'll also, provide him with an O&M manual, which should talk about how to adjust if he needs to.
And already, we gonna have to hire a welder to fix the railing at the Otter Street ramp where somebody backed the boat in and pushed in the brand new railing and never told us about. So we do have a cement block in front of there, and we're putting one at Holland Street so that they can't back into the railing.
Yeah, I was gonna mention, I did see that. If you want something more permanent, we could talk to the contractor about installing some sort of bollard or a couple of bollards by that existing, I think it's near the gangway, is where they hit, or the railing that goes up to the ramp. So I don't know if you're gonna use that, jersey barrier. I think you had a jersey barrier by the one.
It's more of a square jersey barrier.
Yeah.
We have it at Otter Creek, and then we're gonna put one at Holland Street.
Okay.
Hey, you're gonna do a lot of damage to your trailer or vehicle before you destroy our new railings again.
Yeah, so that's what I was gonna mention, even Jared could probably do it himself, some kind of bollard, a more permanent
Yeah.
deterrent, I guess, for people backing up, something that they can see. If you wanted to, we could mention it to DC, maybe they could look at it even.
I might have some 6-inch water pipe that I could drive and then fill it with
Fill it
concrete
with concrete,
and paint it yellow.
Isn't that streetscape?
That is, yeah.
Yeah.
But, I assume you're closed out with that project?
No.
Still have it open?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's well, the bollard issue, I think, is us to deal with.
That's us to deal with.
Right, but that's not closed out yet.
Okay.
Now, anything else with the ready?
No,
Okay.
the only other thing I have, there's some payment applications
Yep.
for both
We
DC
got-
builders and SNL.
Pay app 11, pay app 6, that's number 1 and 2 on new business.
Yeah, and the only other things, I was gonna mention, Sandy and Judy talked about the New York Forward program. There's intent to file
Yes.
submission that is due the 18th.
Yes,
So we will be working on that in conjunction with Hartley to get that completed and submitted for the 18th deadline, August 18th. And then the actual submission deadline is the 29th of
Yeah.
September, so we're getting down there on the timeline. Judy has a few additional applications. As soon as those are ready, it sounds like maybe this week.
I'll have them, I told
You
everybody
wanna
they
send
have to
those
be in
And
this
then
week.
once we review all of them, we'll sit down again and go through and the village projects and the ones that have been submitted in the application process.
We'll have a workshop.
We can have a workshop with everyone, yeah.
Okay. I'll make a motion to pay, app 11 and number 6, 11 for D builders and number 6 for SNL Electric.
Second it.
Motion by trustee Homer, second by trustee Caputo. Jumping ahead to new business, number 1 and 2, pay app 11 for DC Builders. Pay app number 6 for SNL Electric. Motion to pay those bills. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Just one other project update, the WIA deadline is this Friday, and, we talked about this at the last board meeting. We're finalizing that application for the wastewater project, and that will be submitted ahead of that deadline of this Friday.
Thank you.
I think that's it for project updates, unless anyone has any questions. While you were out here, I mentioned that we're preparing a punch list for the electrical and general contract for the ready project, so if anything comes up, let us know, we can add that to the punch list.
The light switch on the gazebo, we're switching that to a sensor. Not a
That's my understanding, yeah, so it comes on just like the other lights.
Yeah, it's like, how did that happen? There's a light switch, you have to go down and turn the lights on for the gazebo versus automatic when the street lights come on. No, let's make this all together.
Yeah, that'll prevent people from doing it, that they're, you know, docking their boats too, it'll just be on automatically.
Anything else for Gregor? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Streetscape. Week ago, Judy and I met with Supervisor Sweet at Holland Street, boat ramp. And he brought a 27-foot trailer, boat trailer with him, and he backed it in, pulled out, backed it in, and he confirmed what we said all along is it was not built correctly. The last piece of cement ramp that was put in the water, it's only a half of sheet. Instead of being 8 feet by 16 feet, it's like 4 feet by 16. It's a half a sheet of cement.
And the other problem is that
And the very first one
right,
is probably 12 feet from the water's edge. Why is it way up here and not at the water's edge? It was so that when you back your boat in, your trailer's wheels are going off the cement and into the river bottom. It's just, it wasn't installed. And between the plates, they've separated 4 inches or so.
at least.
And every single one of them has slid. So Mr. Sweet, he agreed wholeheartedly that he's gonna get a hold of the engineer, EDR, the state, the contractor, and you need to fix this. Bottom line, it's not built correct.
Remember when Mr. Fiacco kept saying that he put in the same length of ramp? Well, the problem is that the ramp that's off where it used to be just macadam, he put a ramp there. And that's why everybody is saying that into the water, it's not long enough. And we finally all got that message across the other day.
Demonstration.
Well, I know.
Try to do a live
And two of
demonstration.
the ramps, or not ramps, 2 of the sections are broken already because they're moving and they're just not in the right places. So, yeah. Okay.
So at least Mr. Sweet is relaying that message to the streetscape people as they are. Okay. Anything else under old business? Shouldn't be. No, number 1 and 2 were taken care of. Number 3, docks, local law discussion, towing.
is that you, are you gonna talk about it?
I have no idea what this is about.
Oh, okay, we had chatted, and I guess I need some, Molly and I talked a bit. Last year, we had a boat we had to tow, and it ended up being a problem. This year, we had a Sea-Doo that parked there for, what was it, 3 or 4 days, and then we ended up finding out who it was by chance. But from what I'm gathering, we don't have a local law that gives us the ability to tow. Is that correct, Molly?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think your dockage provisions are in chapter 60, and that does address use of the public docks and certain charges and everything, but my recollection is it doesn't contain anything about, what happens if, and my recollection with that, towing that boat a couple of years ago,
Yeah,
or whatever,
we had issues.
we approach it from an emergency standpoint as
Right.
well. But yeah, you don't have anything currently in that chapter that addresses when will we tow, where will we take it to, and the responsibility for those charges.
Okay, well then how do we go forward? We need some direction and then
You'd be
to
looking
have
to,
meeting.
yeah, you could look to amend that local law, to address that, but I mean, you're gonna probably look for some general guidance. What is it you're thinking? If a boat's there, how long, would it need to remain there before you'd have it towed? And you'd also have an emergency provision where if all of a sudden a boat was there and was partially sinking or something, you'd get in and get it pulled out. But other than the emergency basis, you're probably looking at saying, well, how long would the craft have to be there before, you trigger, removal? And how would that be accomplished? And where would it be taken to? And, you know, the charges would be the responsibility of the boat owner.
Right.
Now,
And I remember when this happened couple of years ago, we ticketed the boat, and then we finally found out who it belonged to, and then we had it towed, and
yeah.
we ended up, it wasn't right, and we didn't get reimbursed for part of it, but I think we need some direction, maybe
Yeah.
tell us how to do this and,
Is that something we could, it'd be too late for this season?
yeah,
Something
it'd probably
over
be
the
for next
winter
year.
to put together
Yeah,
and put a package together by the new year so that we have time to
to do it
do it and put it into law.
for next year.
Because if we wait till next May, it'll be too late.
Right, we'll be
Yeah.
where we are right now, but we need to deal with that.
Okay.
So I have a question. There's a nice young man who has a motorcycle, and it's down across the street from the bank and those old buildings. And I think he lives in those apartments next to the Legion and the Pink Building. And he keeps his motorcycle well cleaned. Looks like a decent kid, but he's parking there overnight. And a couple of times, you know, you come around the corner and you've got the lights coming from everything and you don't see his bike sitting there. My concern is that bike's gonna get hit, because it isn't in a parking spot. It's before the parking spots towards the.
A lot of times he parks it right up against the building too.
Yes, yes.
So
But
that-
I'm just worried about him. Like if he was getting on there, you know, I don't know if it's a legal thing or whatever, but he's never in a parking spot. And I'm sure he doesn't wanna take up a whole parking spot, because it's a little tiny motorcycle, it's not a big motorcycle at all. But I guess I worry about him and his safety.
He's often sitting on the road,
Yeah.
polishing his bike.
Yes, he
And
is,
it is hard to see him.
Yep.
Yeah, I know who you're talking
Yep.
about. Yeah.
but I don't want him like to go up on the sidewalk and lean it against the building and get in trouble for that. I just don't know what anybody can do about that.
Should be in the parking space.
This should be in parking space,
We'll have Josh
yeah.
or somebody converse with them.
Because he could get a ticket for not being in parking space.
Yep.
Because he leaves it there all night.
So we'll talk about towing for the,
Yeah.
this fall into winter.
Set it up for a plan.
Number 4, Foundation for Community Betterment, 20, you want a copy? Done.
They're signed, okay.
Yep.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You want a copy for us?
Are these all 3?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Foundation for Community Betterment 2024 events. Dear Mayor Jarvis, Village of Alexandria Bay Board of Trustees, on behalf of Alexandria Bay's Betterment Chapter, I want to extend my gratitude and thanks to the village's DPW, a golf course, tennis court crews, and their efforts to help with the Betterment's golf, paddle, and tennis for 2023. Positive impact we have will continue the ripple effect through the lives of those we serve in our community. This is a reminder of the incredible things we can achieve when we come together as a community. 2024 events will hopefully take place on Friday, July 26th, Saturday, July 27th. We would like permission to reserve the venues which we have used in the past. Great for yours, Kathy Polino, Trevor, and Erica Carlock.
And I will say there's been a lot of buzz from people of a certain generation who are concerned about, there's too much going on. And last night at the Betterment meeting, several of us spoke up that the Betterment, the paddle is over on Saturday morning. We are out of there by 1, 2 o'clock. The other things happen on Friday. Golf and tennis happen on Friday. So these people were just concerned it's too much for people. On the other hand, most of us said it isn't too much. And you've got 2 different groups there. You've got the Betterment people doing their thing, and then you've got the Santa people, River Santa people doing their thing. And Betterment helped River Santa this year with this whole parade, and I personally did not see a conflict. So last night I spoke up about that I think it's a good thing, because some of those people that come to Betterment, like I said before, come from all over. So these kids and grandkids were all excited from the Betterment people because they got to go to a parade. Otherwise, they'd be sitting someplace doing nothing. So they got to go downtown and watch this big parade.
And it was great seeing all the people that were gonna, participate in the paddle with all the kids.
Mhm.
I mean, it's really nice
You
to
mean
be.
a family event?
Yeah, a family event. It's really nice, and that's what we need more of, in my opinion.
Can't please everybody,
Nope,
the more the merrier.
nope. All right, I'll
Keep
make
them
a
busy.
motion to approve the Foundation for Community Betterment event on July 26th and 27th of 2024.
Second.
Motion by trustee Palmer, second by trustee Campany to approve Community for Betterment for 2024 events. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? That's carried. Budman. Request for permission to again hold the yearly Budman 2 Club Golf Tournament at the Village Golf Course, September 24th, to benefit Franny Fran Loy, who has recently started additional treatments for illness. The word is about this long, I can't pronounce it.
That's a big word. Let's see.
I may be bringing in 10 golf carts, and this is from Bud Mokai. Again, this is for a local lady who's going through some difficult medical expenses.
A fun, popular event, I move that we continue supporting it.
I'll second.
Motion by trustee Campney, second by trustee Fulmer to approve Budman tournament. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. Mr. Peach, I'll put it short. Mr. Peach is requesting that the village allows, we do a season pass for the tennis courts. And he would like to see a half a season pass for the tennis and pickleball One half-year season pass that's approved should be August first to closing. Yearly season, April to October, June, July, he's got a whole bunch of things
No,
here.
that's me on there. You
Okay.
got my notes. So this is what he wants. He wants a half a season pass, that one half will be from January to June, the other half will be from July to December. So Melissa and I, we're all in on this conversation. Our season is April, maybe May, we're lucky, till October. So that's when your pass is, that's a yearly pass. If somebody's golfing or playing tennis and pickleball, we're not officially open then. So this concept of having the season pass divided like that, to me, doesn't work, right? It just doesn't work, because you're paying for a season pass for the summer, basically.
How much is a season pass?
Oh, of course, I don't have that paper.
$60.
What'd you say, Molly?
60.
60.
Yeah,
It's half the season works in Florida.
yeah, and then he wanted a non-resident and a resident pass with the resident pass with a discount, but we already have that. That's a done deal, we have that. So basically, the person, if they come in here and do their pass from July to December, so you got July, August, September, October, they're paying $30 for the majority of our real, actual physical season.
I mean, if you're talking a couple $100,
Right.
but if you're talking $30, $60 versus paying daily,
Do you want this tabled?
No,
No.
Just nothing?
No. No action.
No.
Thank you for your input, Mr. Beach.
motion to deny.
I mean, we can do that if you want it in the books, but it's not necessary.
Just no action.
No action,
No
it's
action.
lost, yeah.
I voted to raise the rate, I'm dang sure not gonna vote to lower it.
Yeah, I mean-
And I got voted down, so
Yeah.
down low.
and we are gonna raise the rates. I mean, everything's wonderful out there. People, Tim's taking good care of it. Marcus has done a great job, and I get compliments all the time. I mean, it used to be I walk in the grocery store and get slammed in the head. Now they're going, oh, it's so nice out there. What did they do? And I just say, they worked. They made their little magic wands and they worked. And, you know, people, Melissa hears virtually no complaints. She even said that again today. She has not seen hardly anything. So now tomorrow's the ladies' league golf tournament, and they're already calling me going, can we have carts? And I'm like, I don't know, we got a swamp going, because there's a swamp going again out there. There's a swimming pool, so they may cancel their golf tournament tomorrow. Postpone it, maybe.
Well, I read the letter earlier and went, what? You know, we talked about it. It's like, how do you do that? Jared's gonna be out there with
Yeah.
no melters on the tennis court in the winter. I mean, it's like, okay.
And I understand what he's talking about completely, because when you, down in Florida, there are half passes for golf courses, country clubs, everything.
Sure.
If you are a resident for half a year, you pay a half seasonal rate. We don't have 2 seasons here, we got 1.
Yes, we have 4th of July and winter.
That's right.
Okay. Okay, number 7, cameras on the dock. It was called by the chamber to ask if they could have a camera installed on the dock, and they would pay for it. So I looked, to Christian from Ridge Retail. Initially it was $500, and now they're saying it's $648. And again, this is to be paid by either the chamber or Roger and Ron would split the bill and pay for it themselves. The only difference, and I need to find out why, is that Christian says that he's gonna have let's cut to chase, $10 a month fee for, YouTube live streaming service. We have the camera on top of the pavilion, on YouTube and we don't pay a fee. So I need to find out, what is this $10 a month fee?
So we got the camera from him on the pavilion?
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
the two cameras at the pavilion were Ridgeview. That was
Right.
all installed and everything, and we don't have a fee for that one, so why do we have a fee for this one?
Okay.
So I need to get with Christian and find out, but, is it okay that we do go ahead, and in the meantime, I need to find out about this $10 a month fee, whether, if they're gonna pay for it, who's gonna pay for it? What is it? I guess I'm asking if we can at least move forward to put the camera up, but we'll figure out
Why
What
do
they-
why do they want a camera there? What is the purpose of having a camera there?
so that a lot of visitors have asked, there's cameras all along the river, and this one would highlight our new upper dock and the activities going on in the village of Alex Bay. It
On
would
the
be on the
dock.
corner, huh?
It's gonna be, where is it facing? What is it gonna be
It would-
looking at?
It would be
Looking at the
right,
pavilion.
right over where the customs office is.
Okay,
You got the office, ladies' room, men's room, the customs office, and it would be right on that corner, looking right straight out the docks. It's not gonna be pointed in towards the bathrooms, or Cavalier's Pizza, or Dock of the Bay.
It's gonna be a long view of
It's
the
gonna
dock.
be shooting, looking at the docks.
okay, so then we get this, and then where does the feed go? Do you go on our website? Do you go on the chamber's website? Who's gonna watch it? How are they gonna watch it?
Well,
Who?
Right now, we have it on our website.
Yeah.
It's on the chamber, it's on News Junkie, it's on quite a few websites. It's on the town's website that I know of.
Okay.
A lot of people, I mean,
If people are coming down on a boat, they wanna look at the docks and see if there's gonna be any spots available.
Right, I
Like, how
understand that,
busy
but I
is it?
I didn't know what the purpose of it was, so, I'm okay.
a lot of people have asked, where's your camera so that we
Think
can
it's a good idea.
see the dock? A lot of people have asked about it.
It's not gonna be tattletaling on the dock attendants and me
No.
that we're not working, so,
Or there's garbage on the dock, go pick it up.
right.
No,
I get phone calls, you don't have to worry about that.
You can get more.
I know.
Make a motion, you go forward and purchase the cameras, get them installed.
I second it.
motion by trustee Caputo, second by trustee Dino to go ahead with the cameras pending the $9.95 a month fee. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And contractual for flowers, I know, Community Improvement Association for the village has done it absolutely, and I mean absolutely above and beyond, making this community beautiful with the flowers, the containers, just
Fixing Rotary Park, that was
Rotary
huge.
Park.
Mhm.
It just, they have done beyond a fabulous, community contribution, yes. And I could have sworn we put money into the budget for flowers. Did we, or did we not?
It's $1,000 contractual, yes.
Did they get it?
They're asking for that in this.
Okay,
So the money is there.
Money is there, they're just asking for it, but they also highlighted that they'd like to ask for more next year and, you know, put in how many people contributed and,
I was with the understanding they have a pretty good bank account right now, don't they?
They do. And
I
they're
mean,
getting more.
If they have this contractual, I'm all for giving it to them,
Right.
but I don't think more is necessary at this point, and I'm a flower person, but,
are you?
I don't think they need more.
I would actually like to see their budget and see how much money they have. just like other people are asking us for a budget for our things, and they ask Hearts for Youth for a budget. I would like to see their budget, see how much money they have. I
What
still
I hear
don't
is
know,
true. They-
how much money did they raise at Cavalaria?
Yeah.
How much money did they raise when they did the other things they did? Nobody knows that. They could have $1 million.
They won the lottery.
Maybe they did.
Does that need a motion or not, because it's already in our budget?
It's already in our budget. I just wanted to put it in there that they'd written a letter, you know, stating that they were requesting their contractual and, you know, the events that they supported. I just thought it was a good,
And
I
Molly's
feel
already explained to them that, they need to, if they want more money, they have to ask for it.
we have to write a letter for our
For
budget.
next year.
Yeah, I talked to them and explained that, so. That's all.
Anything else? Public concerns? How you doing?
Oh, he's
You should've
moving
gone
the
first,
chair.
Rod.
What'd you say, Cindy?
You should've gone first.
That's
Or you
all
wanted
right.
to wait to
It's
be the
interesting to know
best.
what's going on around here. So as you know, the comprehensive, group has been working many months on updating the current zoning laws. We've had help from, Andy from the county planning board has been, instrumental in guiding us in trying to get to the end. We are getting to the point now where the short-term rentals are coming into play. And I think that these short-term rentals have the potential to be a disaster, not a disaster, but to take a turn down a rabbit hole that could really complicate things. Is it possible, as we did with the sign ordinance, to address all the rest of the zoning and see if that's something that we can get approved and then visit the short-term rentals and into the zoning? Is that something that's possible? I mean, I hate to keep doing this as a disjointed procedure. But one of the things that concerns me again with the short-term rentals is that this could drag on for a long time. And we've done a lot of work with all of the other zoning. Is it possible to make that as a public presentation for the board to vote on and then address the short-term rentals?
I don't have a problem with that. I know the short-term rental is gonna take some major discussion.
It is. It's gonna take a lot of time, and I'm afraid that all the work that we've done on all the other zoning is just gonna get completely lost and overshadowed by the short-term rentals.
We take care of what we have now with what you've done, and then address the short-term rental as part two.
If that makes sense. Again, kind of like we did with the sign law, where we did that first and then came back to the rest of it. I
So
don't know.
you have nothing else to do, you're ready to say, this is it, and we'll come back to the short-term rentals later, afterwards.
We have a meeting coming up this month that we are gonna tie up just about all of the little details on everything else but the short-term rentals. And of course, I know we have to do a public hearing on that, which certainly can be scheduled, but, and we haven't talked about this at the board. I think a lot about this, and the last couple of days I thought, maybe I wonder if it makes sense to separate these so we can at least get what we worked on out to the public and then deal with short-term rentals.
If I may, a suggestion is actually a very good one. I can say that I know that topic, short-term rentals, is a hot topic right now, all different types of ideas. The state is actually looking at that topic, and probably it's gonna be a year or more before we hear from the state, probably state legislation on what can and cannot be done. The state will probably also feed information to the counties, and then the counties will be able to share it with you. So what you might consider doing is, if you're looking at the comprehensive plan, you might just have an area that's just reserved. And that could be where you eventually will plug in the information, short-term rentals, but you probably will want to get whatever the guidance is going to be that the state and then the county might have to see whether it makes sense and what respect it does for the village.
Yeah, I'm okay with that, waiting. You really can't make made decisions anyway yet with those short-term rentals.
What we have a lot of ideas, just, you know, one sentence ideas down on paper. We do have, the town, of Alexandria has been working on something for months, and I think they've come to a standstill because I think that the people on the board can't agree on anything, and I think it's ground to a halt. But we do have a copy of what they have gotten so far. Some of it's actually very intelligent ideas, and some of it may be a little overkill. But we were gonna use that sort of as a guide for what we were looking to do. And of course, we've got, some laws from other places, Old Forge and things like that, that have gotten a jump on what we're doing. They've been doing this for a while, so we've been kind of cherry picking some things from that, that's the plan. But I think, not necessarily this month, but next month is that's when we're gonna start really looking at the short-term rentals. And that brings me to my second, request tonight, and that is, I know that the zoning on these rentals is fairly narrow, and I'd like to get some guidance so that we are not discussing and working on a subject that's either not part of the zoning or that's just way out in left field. And Mr. Burrows, I certainly would like to get a little input from you if this is possible tonight, if this is the right forum. One of the things that we're speaking about is you can call it either a license or a registration for each property. One of the big things that we feel is important, especially with these out of the area landlords, is to have somebody whose rear end is on the line in case there's a problem, and not an LLC or a corporation, but a real name and phone number. Is something like that, does that fall under the zoning, or is that something that's more code enforcement or something else?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't really have any good answer for you right now with that, because you really are at the start of a hot topic, and I too have been kind of patient waiting for the state to give guidance on that.
I was gonna say, before we make can we even make any decisions about short-term rentals without any direction from the state?
I know that you're right, though, Russ, that there are communities that have tackled it. I know that the town of Lyme adopted a short-term rental law a couple of years ago, but I'm not suggesting that it's necessarily good or that it works well, but that might be another example. But I really do think, though, that it's wise to be aware of it and to get ideas down on paper, but I really think that before the village goes far with it, you wait to see what the state's gonna do, because it can very well preempt it. The state can very well preempt and say, this is how it's gonna be dealt with, and then a lot of the effort that you undertake is kind of, wasted time and effort.
And that's one of the reasons I wanted to address the board tonight, because I don't want to waste time. I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste our time. And I would imagine, I know that the county is talking about doing a bed tax on these, the short-term rentals. And I understand that they're getting a little more serious about considering this. I don't know if you've heard any of this or not, whether they're actually considering it, but I mean, certainly there would have to be some kind of a registration set up then, to collect the tax, so they're kind of doing the job that we're talking about, of getting owner information and things like that, so.
I don't know how it is working here, but my son, they do trips and they do Airbnb a lot. And in other, states, and, well, nothing in New York yet. In other states, when they go do an Airbnb, they pay a sales and a bed tax directly to Airbnb, and Airbnb pays the jurisdiction.
Right.
So the owner never sees the different taxes, the money for that. So it's interesting how they handle that in other places that have already made the decision
Right.
that it's taxed like a hotel room.
Right, if you go through the website. If you go through privately, then it's
Right.
a little harder to
Right.
track, but, Judy, I'd still like to have you
Sure.
come to the meeting, just to get your input on that. Yeah, I mean, Mr. Burrows, you've kind of answered just about every question I had that says if the county or the state are looking to do some guidelines, but you're right, it probably doesn't make sense for us to delve in too deep right now till they come up with some.
The reality is, I just don't know that much about it either. Yeah, just don't.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? I'll take a meeting. Motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Motion to adjourn by trustee Palmer, second by trustee Pluto, all in favor? Aye.
You
Opposed?
should see my car, it's all beautiful.
7 o'clock.
I just took the towel out, I took all the doors out, I was like, this is good. I wanted to go out with a squeegee and do my windows.
Oh, I